Hello, welcome to chapters 5 and 6 of the U.S. healthcare system. These are both fairly brief chapters, so I wrapped them up in one presentation for you. Now, chapter 5 just talks about public health's role in healthcare. Now, if you're taking other classes in public health, this is going to be fairly obvious, but if this is your only one, well, welcome. So, basically, public health fills in a lot of the gaps that the private sector wouldn't take on their own. Things like epidemiology, surveillance, looking for combining all the different diseases in the community to look for trends and see what's going on. Because people will be going all over town for, let's say, in the case of the Milwaukee cryptosporidium outbreak, they went to their local doctors and local ERs to get treatment, but without bringing all that information together from all these different places, no one would know there was an outbreak happening. Environmental health, again, a place where hospitals don't make any money. So, water quality, air quality, exposure to chemicals, so things like that. Now, preparedness and bioterrorism, public health helps bring kind of all the pieces of all the pieces together. Again, healthcare systems, clinics and hospitals and police and fire. Again, the epidemiology piece of surveilling and seeing what's going on. Health promotion and education, again, a lot of that is prevention and policy, keeping people healthy. And then, again, you have the local and state health departments seeing what's going on in the community-wide, though hospitals are getting more into that lately. So that's pretty much it for Chapter 5. Move on to Chapter 6, which talks about hospitals. Basically, to oversimplify, two types of hospitals, public and private. Public are ones owned by the government in some way. So you have city hospitals, you have county hospitals, like Broadlawns in Des Moines is actually run by Polk County. You have state hospitals like the University of Iowa Hospital. A lot of those state medical hospitals are run by the state. And then you have federal hospitals like the VA. That's obviously federal hospitals. And you have others that serve active duty military, like on military bases and things like that. Then you have private hospitals, two types, nonprofit and for-profit. Now again, a lot of Iowa's hospitals are nonprofit. For instance, here in Waterloo, you have both Covenant and Allen, which are both nonprofit hospitals, so privately owned, but nonprofit organizations. And then the profits they do, they have to actually reinvest in the community or into building more hospital stuff. And then you have for-profit hospitals, which again, their goal is to make their owners and shareholders money. There aren't a lot of those out there. In Iowa, there's only one. Athelmore Regional is the only for-profit hospital in the state. Accreditation, basically agencies that make sure that hospitals are following the rules, doing their jobs, keeping patients safe, and using best practices. You have the Joint Commission, often known as JCAHO, and then CMS, the Centers for Medicaid and Medicare Services, both certified hospitals. The book is pretty vague about services provided, inpatient versus outpatient, what it sounds like. If you stay overnight, you're basically inpatient. If you don't stay overnight, you're outpatient. Medicare has this very tricky 2-midnight rule, and obviously a lot of people who seek services are on Medicare. So you actually have an assignment about that that's coming up. So, and then other types of care, emergency care, again, things, ER, ED, whatever you want to call the emergency room, or the emergency department. Outpatient clinics, again, in outpatient settings, you can get, especially outpatient, well, we'll talk about surgical centers in a minute, but a lot of imaging and stuff has gone to outpatient clinics. Ambulatory surgical centers, again, ambulatory meaning that you can amble, you can walk in or walk out. A lot of things are done in those centers, often minor surgeries like having your knee scoped, your tonsils removed. There are even places that will do a partial hip replacement on an outpatient basis where you're only there for a few hours and sent home. Then you have home care and hospice, not to lump them together, because home care obviously is medical services provided in the home, help keep people in their house longer, where hospice can be provided anywhere. Again, it's palliative care, usually end-of-life care, that but often happens in long-term care facilities, in the home, or in dedicated hospice facilities. Then respite care and adult daycare are similar. Respite care is basically in a case where, let's say, an adult takes care of their child as the primary caregiver, but they need to leave town, go on vacation, they can actually have respite services come in and provide care for their again, their their child or significant other. And adult daycare, often you see that around traumatic brain injuries, a place where, again, somebody, if let's say you have an adult caregiver for somebody with a brain injury, they can drop them off at adult daycare, go to work, and then pick them up at the end of the day. So people who provide services to fill in from a non-medical provider providing medical services. So again, assignments. Again, I look forward to meeting with all of you either in person, on the phone, or via webcam sometime in the next 2 weeks. Then you have to, assignment 5, you're going to build a PowerPoint on the topic, and you're going to grade each other's, and then I will grade. So my grade will be 10 points, and you will each 15 points will be based on how you grade each other on the PowerPoint. And then assignment 6 is diving into policy and discussing Medicare and the 2 midnight rule and what's going on with that. Thank you for watching.